The question I chose to focus on for my DMP2 is what sets the tone for preconceived judgments of society, and can those judgments ever be truly eradicated or changed? The main word I want to amplify was change, especially in regards to the population as a whole and its archetypal place in the stories we have heard so far. The story that resonated the deepest with me on this particular topic was the Kanu story, particularly with the part of the villagers. With each new visitor that came to the villagers rejected each unfamiliar newcomer with the same distrust and contempt every single time, solely because they didn't understand what they were or why they did what they did. It wasn't until these newcomers helped their village out by bringing them back their princess that the villagers finally listened to Kanu and accepted each visitor for what they were. That same oppression to different and foreign that those villagers had still holds true in many societies today across the world, acting as a barrier that keeps us from ever truly being at peace with one another as long as those prejudices and preempted thoughts remain. When looking further at the concept of changing ideas of a society, examining human nature at its core is necessary to understand where these judgments come from and what purpose they hold in the progression of mankind and its emotional fulfillment. Things such as writing off the character of one's child, like in the Water of Life story, seem smaller than the idea of a society, but in reality are much bigger when put on the scale of a royal family, from a king to his own son. After being ordered to murder the third son, the hunter sets him free because he remembers how good the third son was to him. In reference to my big question, this infers that good deeds are what changes preconceived notions of a person or group of people. But in reality, nothing about said persons or group of people has actually changed, so why does the perception of them change instead? Another story that drew my attention to this idea of a point of change or turning point was the Golden Water story. The whole plotline centered around the realization that all these characters in the story were actually family, yet the core of their issues was the effect of human emotion on the events in their lives. The two elder sisters' jealousy is what catalyzed the separation of the youngest sister from her children, but it was how quickly the Shah was able to shift to mistrusting the youngest sister because of the events out of her control. On a local level, I feel as though the strongest examples of this eradication of a societal idea, whether it come from human nature or prejudice, would be Martin Luther King's work as the face of the civil rights movement. Up until the 1960s, segregation and discrimination were the commonly accepted societal norm. Because of his work, the idea is now harshly rejected even though neither has been completely eradicated. It shows how we're still progressing to a better tomorrow. For myself as an individual, this question begs me to work against the ideals where I can in my daily life. I chose a picture of me and my friends at graduation as these were our first steps into the real world, and in that real world is a chance for myself and my peers to actually make a difference and to truly put an end to the prejudices that keep us from living in a peaceful world.